I'm Suzanne Sibilla. I'm the owner of Sibilla and Associates, which is the premier leadership and employee development company. Overcome obstacles, reframe your reality, love life, and have growth goals. Change and shift your energy. Pivot. Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Suzanne Sibilla, and I am the host for Pivot Now, where we bring on exciting and dynamic guests every week. So mark your calendar at this time, 10 to 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on E360 TV, as well as all the different social platforms. And today, oh my gosh, we have the phenomenal Jeff Wickersham. Jeff is a high performance coach, and he started the Morning Fire Academy. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. I know you're going to love him. So he'll talk today about winning the morning to win your day. Jeff has a phenomenal background. So he's also a podcast host, the #1 best-selling author, and the award winner from Tony Robbins Group. How great is that? So fantastic. So again, every week, we're going to have phenomenal guests like Jeff. So let's bring Jeff on to the show. Welcome, Jeff. So great to have you here. So great. So excited.
Hey, Suzanne. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so glad to be here, right? And like, we're bringing on the fire. We're bringing on the fire. Can everyone see that?
It's sitting on my shirt, so we're going to bring it today for sure.
Yeah. So, our show is about pivoting and how people have pivoted in their business and in their life. So tell us how what has been your biggest pivot in your business or in your life?
So I would say back when COVID started, I was a gym owner. So I owned a brick and mortar location, and overnight my business was shut down, right? Needed to go virtual, and life was chaotic. There was so much stress, uncertainty, fear everywhere. Now I had been building behind the scenes my mindset peak performance coaching business. And as that happened, as COVID shut down everything, I definitely pivoted from that gym business into what I do now full time. And I will tell you, one of the abilities or one of the foundations I had to be able to create that pivot was my nighttime and morning routines, right? That was the foundation that everything else was chaotic in my world. I could control the bookends of my days, and that gave me some semblance of control in what was an unprecedented time, and allowed me to shut down my business and pivot into something that truly now is my mission and focus on a daily basis.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing, because I know all of us went through that and some of us are still going through that with the pandemic and everything. And, dealing with all that fear and anxiety and helping clients to go from fear and anxiety to courage and abundance. And tell us a little bit more about your morning routine and the evening routine, because I think that is really, really valuable.
Yeah. And I always say success happens or is prepared at night, right? What you do the night before, you've got to prepare and make everything so simple and easy that you can execute. You can stack wins right when you wake up in the morning. And so many times we don't prepare for success. And then what happens? Life throws us curveballs. So I love to get everything prepped, ready to go at night so I can stack wins in the morning. And it can be as simple as getting a full glass of water out and ready. I've had clients that say, okay, that's ridiculous. Why should I do that? And I take them through the story. I say, okay, imagine you wake up in the morning, you want to get that first glass of water in, rehydrate the body and the mind. You walk downstairs, there's no clean cups in the cabinet. That's the first time your mind can say, you know what, Suzanne, this is too difficult. I don't need to do this. Okay, let's say you fight through that and you go to check the dishwasher, but your spouse didn't put push the dishwasher all the way in and none of the cups got clean. There's your second example where the mind can say, Suzanne, this is too hard. Let's just go back and do things that are easy. So that's why it's so vital to prepare for success at night. Glass of water, things that you're going to do if you're going to get some exercise in, have your clothes out, have your alarm clock, your phone on top of your clothes so you feel them when you're waking up in the morning. You know that's that trigger to get ready to exercise. So planning for success at night, vitally important. Having that intentionality of, okay, here's what I'm going to do right when I wake up. I'm going to control that first 5, 10, 30 minutes, and then stacking wins when you wake up in the morning. So I love 3 things that I do regardless of if I'm traveling for work, on vacation with the family. Full glass of water when you wake up in the morning. Why? Well, the longest stretch of the day we go without water is while we're sleeping. Human body, 60% made of water. Our vital organs higher. Great way to naturally wake up, rehydrate the body, full glass of water. So that's number 1. Number 2, exercise, move. Doesn't need to be 100 burpees. Doesn't need to be a crazy workout. Just move the body. All of a sudden you get this natural energy that flows through your body, through your soul, through your heart. And then number 3, love to meditate. And we have this misconception of a bald monk on the side of a mountain with snow pouring down and he's there for days on end. No, it can be as simple as 3 breaths in, 6 count in through the nose, 2-second hold, 7-second count out. You do that 3 times, you've meditated for 45 seconds, right? Make it simple, easy, stack these wins. You do things that are easy. You get 4, 5, 6 wins, however many you want to add into your morning routine. You feel fantastic and you've controlled how you're waking up. Feel this momentum, feel this progress, and it's a tremendous way to attack the day moving forward.
I love that, Jeff. I really do. Especially, doing everything the night before. I mean, a lot of times I know with our son, he's a teenager. It's like, okay, come on, get ready for the night before. And it's like, crazy in the morning, like, oh, I didn't print out that paper for today's class. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't you do it the night before, right? So that tip of preparing things the night before is so amazing to do that. And I love the whole thing about a glass of water, because I know I'm usually get dry. In fact, I have my glass of water right here, a cup of water, right? So I think that is really important too. And the whole thing about exercise is so important as well. I find a lot of my clients, like, the first thing they do is like go to their phone, right? And it's just so addicting. Like, okay, what messages did I get, and what messages do I have to send? And that just becomes like, I don't know, just so addicting. And so I like the whole thing of doing exercise, and then the meditation, the breathing is so helpful as well. That's great. So what do you do for your night routine?
So number 1, I have a digital sunset, right? I have a time where I'm getting away from electronics, time at night where I'm got my blue light blockers on, and I'm really preparing for a great night's sleep. And when you have a digital sunset, you're putting it away. All of a sudden, you start to get tired. You start to get, again, prepared for a great night's sleep. Many times we don't prepare for a successful night's sleep, and we wonder why we're not sleeping great. And sleep is essential to restore the mind, restore the body. So having a digital sunset, love to read at night, right? Read before I go to bed. And then some forgiveness and grace that I give myself and the world. And that's a powerful practice that I've got into recently, where I just forgive anything that happened. I give myself grace. I accept myself, tell myself that I love myself, which is an incredibly important practice to get into, because we're always beating ourselves up with that hammer over and over again, instead of giving ourselves grace and saying, hey, you did the best that you could today. That's a great way to kind of wipe that mental kind of sludge out of our mind and just drift off to sleep. So those are a couple things I like to do.
I love that. I really do. I love that whole part about forgiveness and, grace. Give yourself grace. I think that's amazing to do that. I like to do also like a gratitude, at night and in the morning, to really focus in on, what I'm grateful for. So it's kind of the same idea. However, you're really focused on being forgiving others and forgiving yourself as well. Love it. Fabulous. Yeah, so I'm curious, when we talk about pivots, when we talk about change and such, I'm wondering who was the most influential person in your life, that helped you along the way?
Gosh, that's a good one. There's been so many good teachers, and I'm such an avid reader, right? That I find new
Hmm.
books all the time. I mean, Tony Robbins has been an amazing influence in my life. Joining one of his groups definitely sparked that personal development curiosity, going down that rabbit hole that I'll never get out of. I never want to, and it's just this constant journey. So that would be, a big one that had a profound influence on how I operate day to day.
Yeah, I love Tony Robbins. He's absolutely amazing. And I could see you doing a lot of the tools and techniques and using a lot of the tools and techniques that he talks about and having your own program and such. It's great. That is so fantastic. Love it, Jeff. Love it. So I'm also curious when you talk about, pivoting and such, what other kinds of things have you pivoted in terms of your life? And can you give us more like life and business hacks or ways to pivot in our life and business? I mean, you've given us really great tips and techniques in terms of the morning routine, having an evening routine. Can you help us out in terms of actually how to pivot, if you will, how to change with regards to, our whole life, if you will, or our business? Because our viewers, a lot of us are entrepreneurs, business owners. We are in a career. A lot of us are high professional level career. So give us some tips on that, if you will.
Yeah, so I'll give you three. One, we'll go back to something you talked about just recently about that digital phone and that addiction, right? That is the
Yeah.
phone, and
Mm-hmm.
it's in line with my morning routine where I have a rule: no distractions when you wake up in the morning, and that means not checking your phone, your text messages, your emails. I don't care if there's 5,700 emails that you see on your phone, and it's like the tractor beam of the Death Star kind of pulling you in. No
Uh-huh.
distractions, because I want you to get these wins, stack these wins, feel good about yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally before you take on anything. Because if you start in the negative, and many times news, social media, emails,
Mm.
texts, we interpret it negatively, even if it isn't, because there's no tone in it related to a text message. There's no nonverbal communication. There's no pitch and voice. We just take it as negative. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't stack those wins and are prepared to take that on, it can take you down this spiral downward, and it can ruin your day. I mean, I recently had a conversation with a gentleman, and he said it happened to him on a Sunday where he got a text message from his boss early in the morning, and it ruined his Sunday. And I said, imagine if you had all these wins, you felt good about yourself, you saw it, you'd be able to move past it. So that's tip number one.
Love
No
that
distraction.
tip, by the way. Love that tip because I think that is so important. I know, especially in our day and age, everyone is so, addicted to this, right? To the phone, to our electronics. And it's like a lot of times it's the first thing we see is like, oh, what's on the phone? Who messaged me? Who texted me? Want to check email. So I think that is a really important tip you just gave right now is, you know, silence your phone. Don't look at your messages, your emails, and start your day in a positive routine, right? And positive mindset, because that really sets your day. It really sets your day and your week.
It
Yeah. So
does.
what would yeah, I mean, I think that's a fabulous, again, a fabulous tip.
And think about it. We hit the physical gym, right? We talked about
Mm-hmm.
exercise a little bit. When you see those text messages, you've got 7, and you want to check it, and you don't check it, you're basically hitting that mindset gym. You are building a
Mm.
mindset that's a mindset rep, right? Oh, nope, I'm not doing it. And the more you do that, the better you're going to get at it. And we're not aware of, hey, I'm going to hit the mindset gym. Nope, I'm not going to check my phone. I'm going to do it today. Tomorrow you do it again. All of a sudden you get some progress. So that's incredibly important. So, yep, no distractions would be number one. Number two is many times we get the how are you feeling concept wrong. right? Many times and
Uh-huh.
this is from our parents and no fault. We and our teachers and coaches, how you feeling? I don't feel great today. Well, what happens? When we're younger, we don't take action. And then our identity kind of is eroded. And that happens as adults. It happens as entrepreneurs, business leaders, executives. We don't feel like it, so we don't take action, and then our
Mm.
identity suffers. I love to flip that equation on its head, where we start with identity first. So let's say we were talking a little bit about exercising. My energy identity every single day is I'm a world-class athlete.
Love
So when
it.
when I
Love it.
start when I
Uh-huh.
start with that identity in the morning, I'm a world-class athlete. It doesn't matter how I feel. I take action that a world-class athlete would. Think Michael Phelps would skip a day in the pool? Nope. I'm not skipping a day in the gym. I'm taking action. Then how do I feel? I feel fantastic. And instead of spiraling downward, feelings, actions, our identity erodes, you actually spiral up, where you define your identity. You're taking action based upon that identity, regardless of how you feel. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you take action, what happens? You start feeling better. So
So
that
true. That is so true. I mean, and so true, because I work with a lot of clients where they'll come to me and they'll say, they've got anxiety or they're depressed, and they say, well, when I feel better or when I feel motivated, I'll do whatever the thing is, right? And I always tell them, it's like, you're never going to feel that way. You're never going to feel motivated, so to speak. You got to just do the action, and then you will actually feel that way. So when you get yourself into that routine, for example, like you're saying, you think of yourself as that world-class athlete and you take the action, then you're like, wow, I'm doing the action. I'm starting to feel better. And then you feel the motivation. The motivation comes from taking the action and doing the behavior, doing that thing that you're like, I don't want to do. Right. That is the amazing part of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So true. And you can apply that not only to energy or fitness or whatever, you can apply it to your career. CEO of a $10 million company, executive of the year. You could step into that identity every single day. You're going to operate in a much more powerful, purposeful, energetic way when you do that. Same thing at home. You could be mom of the year, wife of the year, husband of the year, dad of the year. When you're intentional about setting your identity, the whole game changes, and all you take actions based upon the identity you've formed. You feel fantastic, and your life spirals upward. So definitely love that.
Love
Number
it. Love
number
that. I
three.
love that. It's so, so cool. Stepping into your identity of who you want to be right now instead of thinking, okay, I'm going to be that person 5 years from now, 2 years from now, next year. Step into it right now. Be that person. Be the best mom. Be the best dad. Be the best husband, the best wife, the best, career person, the best entrepreneur, the best CEO. Yeah, I love that. Love it, Jeff. So cool.
Awesome. Yeah. And number three would be habit creation, right? Our
Mm,
success is a lagging measure of the habits that we do day in and day out. And most people believe habits take 21 days to be created. We all know now, or a lot of us do in this field. If you're watching this, maybe you don't know. It could take anywhere from 21 to 67 days to create a habit. So if
hmm.
you failed and create a habit because you got to 21 days and you thought you made it, hey, you just didn't go long enough. So that's number one, is having that awareness of how long it'll take. And then when you're thinking about creating habits, make it so simple and easy. And this can apply to personal life or professional life. Make the things you want to do and the habits you want to create, the routines that you want to do on a daily basis, so simple and easy when you start that you cannot fail. If you want to make 100 sales calls a week, I would not advise to make 100 that first week. I'd say make one. Make it so simple and easy that you start to build this momentum next week too, and build your way up. Simple and easy, 21 to 67 days to create a habit. When you lay the foundation, just like we talked about morning routines, nighttime routines, when you do these things consistently, day in and day out, it gives tremendous progress to your life. And I love equations. Consistency is the ultimate force multiplier, I say. meaning you can sprinkle in effort, right? We give effort.
Mhm.
Maybe it's focused effort and it's for some time. And those E, F, and T are in parentheses. Consistency is outside of those parentheses, and it's the force multiplier. If you give effort, focused effort over time, and you're consistent with it, you will be successful. Many times the issue is we want it now, and we don't know when
Uh-huh.
it's going to happen, so we end up stopping right before we actually achieve what we want to.
So true. So true. Right. We start a certain routine or certain habit, like we all gung ho about it, get so excited about it, all pumped, like, oh, this is great. I'm doing this fitness routine. I'm doing well in terms of what I'm eating. I'm, eating healthy and all that. And then like, a couple of days go by. Yeah, I'm still doing it, and then a week goes by and then 2 weeks. And it's like, before you know, it's like, oh, well, I could skip that. Maybe I don't do that routine this day. I don't feel so good. And then before you know it, you're not doing it. Right. So I think that is so true. It's like the consistency is so important as well. Wow. Great tips. Love those. Amazing tips. Amazing tips. So yeah, that sounds like it's really helped you, and it's also helped your business and your life. Because you have the morning routine, you have an evening routine in place. You do a lot in terms of your identity. You focus in on that of who you are or who you want to be, and you step into that reality and step into that identity. So if you want to be the best CEO, the best entrepreneur, the best mom, the best dad, the best husband, the best wife, whatever that may be, you step into that reality right now, not next year, not 2 years from now, but right now. I love that. Really great. So I'm also wondering too, we talk about, again, pivoting, changing, and having habits and routines. And we talked about who influenced you in your life. I'm also curious about when you look at your life, like right now, what would you see as where you want to go in terms of what the biggest pivot will be for your life right now? Where do you see it going in terms of your business and your life?
So I'll answer that in kind of two parts, because it definitely happened in the beginning part of the year where I made a pivot. 2022, I have not had a sip of alcohol. So I chose
Wow.
to get away from alcohol. Drank on the weekends. 87% of adults drink, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
knew if I wanted to be the best version of who I could be for myself, for my wife, for my two boys, to everyone around me, alcohol needed to go. So now we're 9.5 months into the year. I feel fantastic. And that's one of the quickest ways, right? We always talk about creating new habits.
Uh-huh.
Well, one of the quickest ways to accelerate your growth is to think about those kryptonites, those things that just hold you back. And alcohol for me was holding me back. So I chose to pivot away from that. Love how I feel, clear, mentally, physically, just kicking butt from that perspective. So I just wanted to share that in the beginning of the part of the year, because that was definitely a pivot for me. And then the other piece is helping families, dads specifically, balance everything that life throws at them. And specifically when it comes to men, and I was just on a call with a client, and we were talking about how many men see vulnerability as a weakness, and we're
Mm-hmm.
so against sharing that because we think it detracts from the alpha, high achieving, striving
Mm-hmm.
man. And I said, I told this client, I said, we need to change that narrative. You can be vulnerable. You can be loving. You can be caring. You can be the best dad to your kids, but you can also be a kick butt entrepreneur, a kick butt executive. You can be balanced in that. And that's one of the things that I'm just pivoting more and more towards, because men specifically don't like to ask for help. I didn't like to
Uh-huh.
ask for help. A lot of pain in my life was when I let my ego get in the way and I didn't ask for help. Well, I want to change that. It's okay. It's not a weakness. It's actually an incredible strength to say, you know what? I don't have it all figured out and I need some help. So that's another pivot that I'm really leaning into, as well as families. I love giving my sons, planting seeds of personal development. They're 12 and soon to be 14. I mean, they're going to so surpass me. But as parents, I think it's the greatest gift we can give our kids, the strategies and the tactics we've learned through experience that we never had growing up. So that's another piece of the pivot.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And congratulations on, not drinking since January. I mean, that congratulations on that. And yeah, I think too about vulnerability is so important as well. And it's so true. I mean, I see that with a lot of my male clients is they have a hard time expressing their feelings, their emotions, and what's going on because it's perceived as a weakness, when in actuality, it is a strength. And so I love that what you're doing now is you're helping a lot of families and you're helping men to be able to be vulnerable and that to have that balanced, if you will, life as well, that you can have the career, you can be an entrepreneur, you can be with your kids and interact with your kids as well. And I love that you're also teaching your young sons about personal development. I think that is so cool because I have a son as well. And I see that a lot of times as just the sense of discipline, the sense of having a routine. Because a lot of times he's like, just throw things on the floor in terms of, he gets changed in the morning, he throws the, shirt on the floor, the pants on the floor. And so that having that kind of sense of where you have a routine and that sense of discipline, that is so great that you're doing that and that you're establishing that with your kids and that you also establish that because you have a organization right now, isn't it, with families, or that you're doing a lot with families as well. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I run the Unstoppable Family Challenge. So it's a 4-week group family coaching program where mom, dad, son, and daughter can all learn, grow together, have conversations away from the phone about what can we do from a routine perspective, some ideas, some topics related to personal development, and what a powerful force it can be when your entire family is intentionally being the best version of themselves. And that's one of the greatest discoveries I've learned is many times in our past, we're all going in different ways. When we have open discussions about how are we going to be the best version of ourselves, and we cheer each other on, and we're a connected unit. And that's so incredibly powerful as a family versus technology, phone, distractions, busy, go, go, go culture. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons there's a lot of issues in society. That family structure has just been eroded, and we need to bring that back. We need to equip our children with those strategies, those tools, those tactics, that personal development that we've learned or experiences we've learned from, and just build this curiosity in them and have them be intentional in saying, you know what, I'm going to be the best version of myself today. I mean, that's what a gift we can give our kids if they start to have that mindset.
Yeah, I think what a tremendous gift we can give our kids to have that, like you said, intentional living. Because I work with a lot of clients where when I talk about that, about what is it that you want in your life, or what are your goals, what are your dreams, what is your vision for your life, and they'll look at me like, what, because they almost like forgot about it. Like they got married and they have kids, and then they're in their career, and it's like then it's just kind of like status quo. And when you talk about intentional living, like, yeah, we can have an intentional life. What is it that you want to focus in on? How can you be the best? I love that, the best version of yourself. And how can you continue to develop yourself to be that way? And also for your kids and your whole family. And it goes outward. Like you do that within your own family, and then it extends outward. So I think that's so great that you're doing that and that you have that. So how can we find out more about that with regards to your organization and what you're doing and everything?
They can go out to, people can go out to www.themorningfire.com. I've got a ton of content out there, or they can go out to unstoppablepamilychallenge.com and check out everything related to the family challenge. And, if you want to book a time with me, feel free to grab 20 minutes on my calendar. I just love speaking to people and connecting. I feel like that's a lost art, that what we do in life. And so many times we're not having great conversations like this one and connecting at a deep level. So that's a key component as well.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And I'm looking, we're still, we have some time here still to talk about, changes and pivots and biggest influences and things like that. So, again, really want to talk to you more about, because again, we've talked about so many different things today. I mean, we talked about morning routine, having an evening routine, developing those strong habits in your life, really extending that out to your family, to your kids, and out to other people as well. Do you have any other tips or techniques for all of us in terms of, again, for pivoting, making those changes in our life? I know a lot of it is through the mindset and such. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So one thing I love is gratitude. And I know
Mm.
you had mentioned it a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll relate it to when you buy a new car, right? When you purchase a new car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere on the road. Now, not everybody bought that same car that day, but your mind is open to it. And that's what gratitude can allow in your life is when you start, and I'm so big on the word intentional, when you're intentionally writing down things you're grateful for and feeling them through your soul, your heart, and your mind, and really letting them sink in, all of a sudden, you see more things to be grateful for in your world.
Mm.
And your happiness, studies show your happiness can increase by 25% when you gratitude journal one time per week over an 8-week period. Crazy. Just by gratitude journaling, you can increase your happiness level. And I would say that's a powerful practice to get into. I would also
Mm-hmm.
say our language, how we speak, not only internally, right? We've got that internal dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us have those negative thoughts that creep in or play over and over again in our mind. But how you speak out into the world is so incredibly powerful. We were talking about kids. I love sharing that lesson when my sons are hitting the gym in the garage. We've got a gym in our garage, and I'll ask them how many reps they're going to do. And they'll say, I'm going to try and get 4. And I kind of raise that eyebrow and I say, what are you going to do? And I'm going to get 4, right? Because
Yeah.
try just isn't going to happen. I always love to
Yeah.
relate it to
Yoda, right?
try is the mind, the subconscious mind walks out the back door you didn't even know was there when you say the word try. I said, I
Uh-huh.
am
Do
going
or
to
do
get
not,
4.
right? Yeah. Yep.
Our language is so incredibly powerful. So how
Mm.
you speak out into the world, and we talked about identity a little bit earlier. I'm going to be a world-class athlete today. All of a sudden your mind, I mean, I you probably saw my posture just change when I spoke that way.
Yeah, yeah. It's like up and yeah, you're there and uh-huh.
Your energy changes.
Yep.
So be your biggest cheerleader on a daily basis. And my family laughs at me. A lot of people probably think I'm crazy. I mean, I was going for a run over the
Uh-huh.
weekend and I'm running and my quads are burning, my hamstrings are on fire, and I'm yelling, no pain, no pain, you got this. And
Uh-huh.
but it inspires you, and the words, the language we speak out into existence, all of a sudden you got like the biggest, best cheerleader you would ever have is on your shoulder.
Mm.
Think about the flip side, how many of us typically operate. I used to operate this way. The opposite, that negative wolf, that negative dog is like, you're not good enough.
Mm.
You'll never
Uh-huh.
be successful. Those were a couple of my automatic negative beliefs that I had versus that powerful, energetic, enthusiastic cheerleader that's saying, you got this. Like, let's go. No pain. Keep going. It's incredibly powerful. So don't discount the language you speak out into existence. If you need a little jump in energy, start speaking out how you're going to operate, how you're going to act. That's incredibly powerful. So gratitude, getting into that practice, language, how we speak, how we carry ourselves is absolutely correlated to the success we get. You've got low energy, you're feeling bad about yourself, start speaking it out into existence. The mind doesn't know if it's real or not.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So, I am going to do this. You have a much better shot at achieving that than if you say, I'm going to try and do this.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So, the language that we speak is incredibly powerful. I love educating, giving my sons those words of wisdom and how we speak out into existence. But you have the biggest cheerleader on your shoulder. You just have to encourage that cheerleader to get in and start motivating, start inspiring, start giving words of encouragement. And then you can get past some of those hurdles or those road bumps that, that happen in life.
Those are really fabulous, fabulous tips and techniques, because again, I think the whole thing about gratitude is so important. I love that you're saying, write it down. I say that to my clients all the time, is write out what you're grateful for. And it's the small things, not so much the large things. I mean, you can say, you're grateful for your family, your friends, and also, being able to, breathe, right? Having food on your table. Being able to walk down, to the store, or being able to walk outside and get some fresh air. But writing out what you're grateful for is really important as well. And I love that you talked about the language we use. So I think that's so true too, is a lot of times we get millions of thoughts coming into our mind. And a lot of the times those thoughts are negative, like, oh, am I enough? Can I do this? What are they going to think? It's like that imposter syndrome a lot of times too. And it's amazing, because a lot of times high level celebrities have that imposter syndrome. They also have it. Because we're all human, right? We all have those thoughts and feelings. And to be able to deal with that and to really manage those thoughts and really tell ourselves differently, like I always say that to my clients, like I am, start off the sentence with I am, whatever it is you want to be, like I am powerful, I am courageous, I am confident. And then I say, like speak it into existence and speak it into your phone. We use our phones all the time. Do it as a voice memo and speak that into your voice memo. So you're actually hearing your own voice saying those words. It's not someone else saying it. You're actually hearing your voice saying, I am confident, I am courageous, I am powerful. So I love that you talk about the words we use, because I do believe that is so true, and that it helps, families, it helps our kids as well, in terms of speaking that into existence and using that language, and getting rid of the word try, like Yoda says, do or do not, right? There's no word as such as try. So I love that as well. Great, fabulous tips. Wonderful, wonderful tips. Love it. Love it. You're on fire, Jeff. You're on fire. I don't know if people can see this, but it's kind of with a small screen, but you're on fire there. I love it so much. So great. Yeah. So yeah, any more tips or other information you want to leave with us? You've got a captive audience here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes to the negative thoughts you talked about, because I love numbers and I know some people love numbers. So the average person has 60,000 thoughts a day.
Wow.
80 to 90% of those thoughts are negative, and 95% of those negative thoughts are repetitive. So if you don't
say
think
that again, because we got to get those numbers again. So 60,000
on average, 60,000 thoughts a day. 80 to 90% of those thoughts are negative.
Wow.
And 95% of those negative thoughts are repetitive, meaning we've had them before and we have them over and over again. So if you don't think you need to program and talk, speak the language, become your biggest cheerleader, those are powerful statistics. I'll give another great strategy that you can do to increase your courage and decrease your stress. Superman, Wonder Woman pose. So you can put your hands on your side, chest high, chin up. You do that for 2 minutes. Your testosterone, your courage vitamin goes up 23%. Your cortisol level, stress, goes down 18%. So just by doing that for 2 minutes, if you have a big meeting, you have something that maybe the nerves are flowing, go ahead and do a Superman Wonder Woman pose for 2 minutes. You're going to feel so much more powerful. We have all these natural chemicals, obviously training background, nutritional coach background. We have all these abilities in our bodies to naturally kind of ebb and move, encourage ourselves, gives us a little courage vitamin. Superman Wonder Woman pose. Amazingly powerful for 2 minutes. You walk into a meeting, you walk into a presentation, you walk into a speech maybe you have to give.
Uh-huh.
You're going to be that much more. You're going to feel fantastic. So there's these little things, strategies. You mentioned it's not the big things. It's
Mm-hmm.
these small things that we can do. You spend that 2 minutes doing that, all of a sudden you walk in a little bit differently. You hold your chest high. You're more confident. You've got that courage vitamin. So that's another little strategy, tool, trick that you can implement. You can share it with others, put it into practice. I had one of my sons who was struggling getting a rep in. I said, hey, here's what I want you to do. Go out of the garage, do the Superman pose for 2 minutes. He said, Dad,
Uh-huh.
this is crazy. I said, you know I'm crazy, but try it out.
I love it, Jeff.
He did. He
Uh-huh.
came in and he
Uh-huh.
got the reps and he's like, you're not crazy. And I'm like, not, you just increased your testosterone. Of course you're going to be able to, you got that courage vitamin. Of course you're going to be able
There
to
you
lift more.
go.
So
Love it. I love it. Yeah, Superman and Wonder Woman pose.
yeah,
Yeah, that's so cool. I know because when I do presentations or trainings or anything like that, I always think, okay, got to get into that, focus pose and get the energy up, rather than like, okay, I'm just going to sink in because
yeah,
it does a lot. Like if you're just like this, right, then you feel the energy goes down and then you feel like, oh, I just, the moment you do that, right, it's just amazing that little technique of that little change can make so much difference. I remember when I actually worked with depressed clients in a hospital setting. This was going back years ago, and you'd see a lot of these depressed patients where they would be sitting here like this, and their mood was such like this because their body, the physiology, the body was down like this. And so, yeah, it's hard to be happy if you're like this, right?
yeah,
Now, and I mean, not that it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to be happy now, but it does change the energy when you change the physiology, when you change your body positioning. So true. I love that you talked about that and that you're teaching that to your kids. That is so great because I could see my son going like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're teaching me the Superman. What's a Superman pose?" Like, he's a teenager, so I don't know. But you have teens too, so they get it. So that's great.
yeah.
I
They,
love
they,
it.
they do. And I would say just related to energy,
Uh huh.
this might be it right here. And I know we've talked and I've given a lot of value.
Yeah,
We
tons
always
of
try and
value.
manage time. You can't get more than 24 hours a day. I can't. We're always concerned with time management. Manage your energy. If you
Ah,
manage your energy, you bring more energy to a task, you'll be able to get done that task quicker and you'll have more time in your day. We can't get more or less time, but you can bring more energy to the equation. So if you bring more energy to whatever you're attacking personally and professionally, all of a sudden pockets of time open up. I was just working with a client a couple weeks ago and it was one of the best sessions. You know why? I told him, he said, I was worn down. I said, why don't you implement a nap in the afternoon? He said,
huh.
really? I said,
Uh
some
huh.
of the greatest thinkers in the history of the world were amazing nappers. Nap for 20 minutes. All of a sudden you get this energy boost and you're ready to attack the day. So as a peak performance coach, people are thinking, you tell people to take naps? Yes, I take a nap almost every day because I want to recuperate. I want to attack my afternoon, and we can't continually go without replenishing our energy, without taking a walk outside, getting some time away from our email, and then you'll be able to attack. You'll be able to bring more energy to what you're looking to accomplish, and then more time in your day opens up.
Wow. So 20 minutes a day. So you did take a nap 20 minutes a day, no longer than that, right? Not an hour or 2 hour type nap because then that's
No,
going
no,
to
that's
disrupt
gonna
the sleep
definitely
pattern, right?
that
Yeah.
that's gonna interrupt your sleep at night.
Yeah.
So 20,
Yeah.
23
20
minutes are
minutes.
my sweet spot for a nap.
Ah, so it's like a cat nap type thing,
Yep.
huh? 20 minutes. And so you can actually fall asleep for that time, for that 20 minutes. I mean, you don't go over, or what do you do? Do you set like a little alarm, or what do you do?
So I actually have a headset that I
Uh-huh.
wear, and I listen to some binaural beats. So it's theta
Ah,
state is a mind state that isn't deep sleep, but it's restorative sleep.
uh-huh.
And 20 minutes happen like that. The alarm goes off. I'm up and I'm ready to attack the afternoon.
Wow. So it gives you energy then.
Mhm.
That sounds great. I mean, because I like to take naps. So sometimes I take too long of a nap, especially if I'm really tired. I'm like, wait a second, did it go by in like an hour or something, So I don't know. The 20 minutes sounds great though. And so you put on the headsets and it has the sounds on there and you do it for 20 minutes. Yeah. Great tip. Excellent tip. I love it. I love it. And so where can we find you? And we're going to put all your, social media channels, on the program as well, on the show. And so where can we find you?
They can, everybody can go out to themorningfire.com. Got a ton of free content out there, as well as you can get a white paper on what 9 things high achievers do in the morning. So that'd be awesome if you pick that up. And then I do a weekly newsletter that I send out. Also have a podcast. It's called Your Hidden Edge Podcast. So this is all about uncovering the edge of other high successful, high achieving people, because I believe every single one of us has at least one, there might be multiple edges that if we uncover, all of a sudden our life changes, right? It's back to that car. We don't see those cars all around because our mind blocks out so much of what is going on in our world. Well, you uncover that hidden edge, all of a sudden your world changes. So I have Your Hidden Edge podcast. They can find that on all major podcast providers. And then I put a ton of content out on socials. I know you'll put those links out. Have a follow, shoot me a DM if you want to chat. Always up for talking.
Yeah, that sounds great. So at Jeff Wickersham, tell them where you can find, what's your website and social media handles. Again, we'll have that in our show as well. But can you just let us know what those are?
Yep. So they can, if somebody wants to drop me a line, you can drop me an email at jeff@themorningfire.com. Website is www.themorningfire.com. Out on all the socials. Instagram is a big one I'm on, Jeff_Wickersham, out on LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook as well.
Great. Well, so grateful to have you here on the show, Jeff. And this was our launch of the show. So grateful to have you on the show. You brought the fire. You definitely did. And so amazing in terms of all your tips and techniques and life and business hacks. Really appreciative of all of that. So thank you so much for being on our show. And to tell everyone again, we are on, Pivot Now every Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Pacific Standard Time, so e360tv.com. And we're also on all the social media channels. We're also on the Android, Apple TV, Amazon Fire as well. So again, watch our show. Love to have you. Again, we'll have dynamic guests just like Jeff coming on our show, talking about relationships, finances, health, fitness, and wellness, and all about how to pivot in your business and in your life. So great. And have a fabulous, fabulous day and live life abundantly. Pivot now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you, Suzanne. Honored to be on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Change and shift your energy. Pivot